Hello and a warm welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. This time not previewing the domestic action. This time around we'll be previewing the action out in Dubai at Meydan on Dubai World Cup night. What an exciting card we have there at Meydan, and we are joined by a special guest. Rarely we're joined by special guests nowadays on this channel, but we had to get a man who's out there waking up early every morning watching these horses. Mr. Andrew Hawkins, how are you, sir?
Sam, very, very well, and I'm used to being the one here doing the hosting, and you. I'm loving the fact that I get to see you in the hosting role. You're a natural at it, and yeah, very exciting to be able to come in and chat about what is going to be a big weekend of international racing.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be relying on you for tips this time around, so best of luck with that. We are going to be we're not going to be previewing every race. We're actually going to skip the first race and also the UAE Derby, but Andrew and I may touch on those quickly towards the end of the video. But we're starting off with the 12:40 UK time in Meydan. It's the 2-mile Dubai Gold Cup, and Siskany is the 130 favourite. Ardakan 7-1, Subjectivist 8-1, Global Storm 11-1, Enemy 12-1, Broom 16s, and looking at bigger about the rest of these. I mean, a lot of people are saying that Siskany's working like a bit of a machine. There's been quite a lot of talk about a few horses working like absolute machines, but I want to give a chance to a horse that's won this race before and a horse that needs to bounce back to form, and he was going to be the next coming of whatever after his Ascot Gold Cup when it's Subjectivist. I just think that potentially that run that we saw in Saudi, he tired like a horse that needed a run after a long layoff, and I could see him easily bouncing back. I mean, you probably see either the money come for this horse or him take a big drift on the day, but I think at the moment 8-1 might be a fair price. Joe Fanning takes the ride. I think he is a fair each way price, and I could see him bouncing back to form. Andrew, I'll start with you on this one. I mean, I like Subjectivist in here. I mean, it's a bit of a risky one to take on, but there are a few interesting contenders.
Yeah, there are, and it's quite an international sort of field as well. I think we'll see a few of these potentially come through the Cup races in Britain later in the year, and might come down my way to the Melbourne Cup later in the year as well. It is a really tough race to assess. Now, Subjectivist, I did see him this morning. He's looking well. I saw him in Saudi as well, and He's definitely taken improvement for that run in Saudi. Mark Johnston was there this morning, obviously no longer listed among the trainership, among the trainers there with Charlie having taken over, but still very much involved. I think he's just not sure what to expect with Subjectivist. I think he's thinking he's the type of horse who can show up, but needs to improve on that effort in Saudi. Probably getting back to Meydan helps. I'm going to be interested to see what Ardakan can do for my compatriot in Damien Lane, as well as Marco Botti. Was second to Siskany last time out, but is improving. He's well travelled now. He's done quite a bit of travelling throughout Europe and went across the US now here. He's worked well, so I'm going to be interested to see what he can do.
Okay, one of the young guns in the field. Yeah, 4 years old, Ardakan, currently 7-1. Jack, are you going to be with the Godolphin favourite here?
I'm not. No, I kind of want to take on Siskany. I think he's a fair enough price, but I thought it was an okay performance when he beat Ardakan last time out. I think El Habib's quite an interesting one, the 4-year-old here. Of course, getting weight. I remember looking last year at the Derby and seeing he was entered on his second run after winning. After finishing 5th at the listed company on his debut, and I thought, goodness me, that's a bit odd. But then he finished just staying on 6th, of course, in testing conditions in the Ledger, and then won at Ascot over 1 mile and 6. Hit the line strong that day. I think the step up to 2 mile could suit. He's had a break. He's now 4. He gets some weight as well, so he's a double figure price. So El Habib's the one that I'll be looking forward to watching.
Okay, 2 4-year-olds put up by the gents. El Habib 22-1, Ardakan 7-1, and I'll take the risk with Subjectivist in the Dubai Gold Cup. Let's move on to the 115 then, the 6 furlong Quoz Sprint. This is a really fascinating race, and Al Dassim tops the market at 3-1, Sight Success 4-1, Al Sahel 5-1, Flaming Rib 8-1, Ladies Church 12-1, 16-1, and bigger about the rest of them. Jack, I'd love to see Al Dassim go and win this for the George Bowie Yard. What he did the last day out in Meydan was absolutely incredible. I mean, it's crazy to say this horse is free, but isn't actually free in terms of age until April the 11th, I think. So realistically, this is one of the young guns running out there. It's got to be a hell of a performance, but he definitely has the ability.
Yeah, he definitely does have the ability. I think it'd be great to see. Look, he's an absolute rocket. I mean, I thought he was very impressive last time out. There's something about these 3-year-olds, or as you say, these 2 and 10-month-year-olds that I just somehow always seem to doubt. But look, he's in serious form, and he'll probably go well again from stall 8. The one that I'm interested in was Ladies Church. She was second last time out, staying on like anything from an outside draw. She's drawn in 10 for Johnny Mercer. I know a bit of money's come for her. She's about 11 to 1. Now, Mick Yars as well, of course, who beat Ladies Church, I think could be a little bit overlooked. I think he's a massive price as well at the moment. But, of course, was beaten fair and square by Aldacine last time out. But Ladies Church as well, I'll be pinning my hopes.
Yeah, I like Ladies Church in each way angle. I mean, last season had some really good performances. You've got to remember some of the performances this horse put up in Ireland was disappointing at Royal Ascot, but there were a lot of excuses that day. And this horse for Johnny Mercer is definitely taking some steps forwards this season. And like you say, that second the last time was very, very strong. But Andrew Aldacim, I'm a massive fan of this horse. I text Jack immediately after the race the last time Meydan and said this horse could be a proper good Commonwealth Cup horse. He's very exciting. Miguel Barcelona's on board. Jack will tell you many a time that I love this jockey and how good he can be, especially out in Meydan. But Aldacim, what are the reports like on track?
Well, having seen him, he definitely looks every bit a 2 and 10 year, 2 year and 10 month old horse. So you can tell he's got a lot of growing still to do. He's a pocket rocket. But look, he's definitely done nothing wrong. He was very, very impressive last time, as you said. Interesting to note with this race, I think a lot of people paid a particular attention to the draws in this race, just because if you are drawing inside in a 16-horse field here at Meydan, you've got very little hope. I know. I think it was the Right Man was the only horse to have come from inside barrier 7 in the last decade. It's just it's a death trap. You want to be drawn wide, which is why a horse like Al Sahel, I reckon, is going to drift significantly before race time. Look, I think Aldacim's a chase. I think sight success for Hong Kong. He's probably going to get across and lead or be near the lead. But the query with him is going to be the final half furlong. I think he'll probably be on empty, and I think he might get swamped. Flaming Rib is one who's looked really well as well. I'd probably be leaning the way of Flaming Rib, but you could make a case for plenty of these. I just think with Flaming Rib, I think a flat 6 furlong probably suits him perfectly, and again, drawn the right spot in 12. But it's a competitive race. You could make a case for basically any horse that's in there, even down to the likes of Pogo, good old Pogo going around, who had looked quite well this week. But competitive race.
It is. It usually throws up a blanket finish, and it usually can throw up a big price winner as well. So don't be shocked with that. The draws can pay everything as well in this race. So, an open-looking race, the Quoz Sprint. Right, we'll move on to a race now that Jack hasn't got a selection in, but I will quickly discuss it, Andrew. It's the 225, the Golden Shaheen, over 6 furlongs on the dirt. Lemon Pop is 4 to 1, Gunite 9 to 2, Switzerland's also 9 to 2, Hopkins 10 to 1, Remake 12 to 1, and bigger about the rest. I like Gunite. I'm going to go back in on this horse. I backed this horse at the Saudi meeting. Very disappointed to be beaten by Elite Power that day. Frankie the Tory show out at Saudi. But look, Gunite over 6 furlong. This horse is really consistent. I said you could make all the excuse at the Breeders' Cup for this horse's run at a mile. The run in the King Cotton Stakes at Oaklawn Park showed this horse was just a top quality 6 furlong horse. He was beaten by a better horse on the day. What I'm hoping is, Andrew, that Lemon Pop isn't better than Gunite. But could I be completely wrong here?
Look, you could be, but Lemon Pop's never gone a 6 furlong sprint. I think he's won over 6.5, but it's a different setup to what he's faced in Japan. It's going to be tough for Lemon Pop. He could be very good, but we just don't know where he's at the moment. Two that they've been real pushes for from the track. CZ Rocket, second in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last time out, drawn deep, but there's just a feeling around that. Basically, he's been set up to perform well, and he's probably going to cart Gunite across. The other one is Red Lizelle, who has been second in this race twice before. Again, coming off a second to Lemon Pop, but probably better suited at the 6 furlongs. So they're the two that there have been sort of whispers around out here. But look, Gunite, I think, should be favourite, and I think Gunite's probably the one to beat ahead of Lemon Pop personally.
Yeah, I'm going to be with Gunnar, but yeah, big mentions there for CZ Rocket and Red Lizelle, 14 to 1, 18 to 1 about both of those. Moving on then, this is going to be exciting. Here we go, the 310, the Dubai Turf over a mile, 1 furlong. Now, the betting I have here has Doe Juice as 7 to 2 favourite. Doe Juice has this morning been reported as lame, I believe, and will not be running in the race. But yeah, Doe Juice is 7 to 2 favourite. Seraphos is 9 to 2, Lord North 11 to 2, Donon Beluga is 9-1. Nation's Pride 9-1. Double figures about the rest. Obviously, the betting will need to adjust. I don't have the adjusted betting in front of me at the moment with regards to Dojuice coming out. Now, Jack, I'll start with you, and I'm going to go to Andrew because Andrew has backed this horse before. But we were on the phone or on a Skype call earlier in the week, and we looked at this race, and we both came down on a horse that we've now fallen in love with without even backing it or really seeing it run, and it's Danon Beluga. I think I'm saying it right. I'm hoping I am. But this horse here, Jack, I'll let you make a bit of a case, and if you miss anything, I'll add to it. But go on, what case did we make earlier in the week?
Yeah, we were chatting for around an hour and a half, looking through all the races, and we both landed upon Danon Beluga, and we just thought this trip's going to be absolutely perfect for him. Like you've seen over a mile and a furlong when he beat Geoglyph. Of course, Geoglyph's one of two horses to actually beat Equinox along with Dojuice himself. Then just didn't really stay. I mean, if you skip forward to this year, just didn't stay the mile and a half in the Japan Cup, got to the front too early, and just, of course, jockey was up on his irons trying to claim he'd been hampered. He was somewhat, that gap did close him, but look, just didn't stay a mile and a half. Was a staying on third, of course, in the 10-0 shoot behind Equinox. But look, I think this trip's going to be absolutely perfect for him. João Moreira's on board as well, and I think I think he's been found in the market. He's about 8-1 now, 7-1 in a few places. I think he has been found in the market, but I think this trip's going to be perfect for him with João Moreira on board. That was a bold move to bring him on board, and I think he's got a big chance.
Yeah, the magic man, João Moreira. Look, Jack said there, I mean, that race, the tennis show, was very interesting. Obviously, Panthalassa went miles clear in that race, and there were closers left, right, and centre. Equinox probably just stayed a little bit better than Danon Beluga did. But I thought that at one stage, Danon Beluga kind of outpaced Equinox and kind of caught him out a bit. But again, like I say, Equinox has staying power, and Equinox is the favourite for the Sheema Classic, which we'll move on to in a second. But Andrew, Danon Beluga, you told me before you really fancy this horse. Was it for the Japan Cup, I believe? Didn't quite go your way. So Jack and I are backing this horse for the first time. Could this be a wise decision?
It could be a wise decision. The one thing I will say is that he is being re-vetted today, so that is a concern. But look, again, he's one of a few Japanese horses, and the fact that he didn't come out at the same time as Dojuice, I think, is a positive. If he lines up, then you know that he'll be sound and fine to go. His trainer Noriyuki Hori is an absolute genius. You want to talk about him as being probably the equivalent of the Henry Cecil of Japanese racing. Just a very demure, very very soft spoken, but very intelligent and shrewd man. And he's travelled horses before, horses like Morris, who went to Hong Kong 3 times and won 3 times. Satono Crown as well, who won in Hong Kong. He's a very shrewd trainer, and when he travels one, you know that they're going to be ready to go. I think what you said was absolutely right about the Tenno show. He did look like he quickened better than Equinox. I think that Equinox probably outstayed him, and it was a race. Even if it was over the 10 furlongs, I think it was a race that really relied on stamina the last little bit, the way that Panthalassa had run that race. I think back to the 9 furlongs is the way to go with him, a mile and 1. And look, he's drawn the right place. So I can't talk you out of him, except for that little query, which we'll know about by the time I get to tomorrow morning. But look, with him, I think absolutely. The other one that I'm interested to see what he can do is Real World, just because that Jebel Hatter was really strangely run. He showed absolutely nothing there as favourites. He's a better horse than that. If it's run at a more generous tempo, I could see him potentially performing. He's got probably the best figures in the race. And there has been 14-1 out there about him. So if he's that sort of a price, I think you can't let him go around without you.
Yeah, Real World, Alshie Murphy taking the ride there, currently around 12-1. So yeah, a few interesting ones. We'll have to wait with regards to Danon Beluga. Please don't spoil the dream. We'd love to see this horse go and win this race. I tell you, it'd be some scenes. We'll move on to race. We could probably get over it quite quickly, hopefully, depending on what selections we have. But the 4 o'clock is the 1.5 mile Dubai Sheema Classic, and Equinox is the even money favourite. Rebels Romance 6-1. Mostadaf and Westover 13-11-1 about Shariah, and then 20-1 and bigger about the rest of them. The rumours I've heard them from you, Andrew, and I've heard them from multiple people. Equinox is just working like an absolute rocket, and you'd be well, to take this horse on, you'd be a brave man.
Evens his value.
Wow. Really?
Look, he's worked absolutely outstanding. There's only a couple of times in my life I can think I've seen a horse work better in their sort of final hit out. One was Lord Kanaloa in Hong Kong. It reminded me of Lord Kanaloa before he won his second Hong Kong Sprint, which was extraordinary. I've never seen a horse move like that, but Equinox was close. He's looked fantastic. I was there when he won the Arena Kinnan in December, and that was an imperious performance. But he looks as though he's going even better going into this. And if we see the real Equinox, I think we might see the emergence of a superstar.
Wow. Okay. Rebels Romances, loads of ones by its name. Jack Mostadaf was so impressive in Saudi Arabia, but from what Andrew's just said there, you're not going to leave Equinox, are you?
No, I'm actually not. No, I actually am with Equinox. I usually try and look for the British runner and always get it wrong. I think this will be another time. I really do respect Rebels Romance. I think he was completely overlooked in the Breeders' Cup, did the business, but there's just something about Equinox that just screams superstar, isn't it? As Andrew said, when he won in December, it was very, very impressive. Look, he's been beaten twice in his career by Geoglyph and Do Juice, and he's just come on and on and on for that. Mostadaf was really impressive last time out. I think he did what he showed glimpses of in the past when winning in good style. The one that's interesting for me is the actual outsider of the field, Zagre, who's stepping up to 1.5 miles for the first time. Was of course fourth and second on his global ventures this year, but was second to My Prospera as well in France. One on soft ground, over 1.25 miles. He's not exactly bred to stay in a 1.5 mile trip, but I mean, even when he was fourth to Valiant Prince, he was somewhat staying on. So I think them stepping him up to 1.5 miles, I don't know if it is just one punt from them to try and see if he does stay 1.5 miles, but I think he's got plenty of ability. And if he does hit the frame, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, yes, that's 66 to 1 currently, maybe in each way angle, but it seems like Equinox is definitely the one to be with in the Sheema Classic. Right, one more race preview, we'll fly through it. I know Jack's on a little bit of a countdown clock, but the 4:35 is the Dubai World Cup over 1.25 miles. Algiers, the 7 to 2 favourite. Country Grammar 4 to 1. Ushbar Tesoro is 10 to 1. Panthalassa and Teo Keynes 12 to 1 and 14 to 1 about the rest of them. Algiers, Country Grammar, Panthalassa, probably the three that are the most favoured runners in the field, and they're all drawn right in the car park, Andrew. What do we do here? It's made it more of a difficult race to look into now.
It has, and it's a different race to Saudi Arabia, where it's a one turn, 1,800 metres. It means they've got a lot of time to be able to allow the race to develop. Here, they haven't got that time, which means that Panthalassa, Yutaka Yoshida is going to be trying to dart across. I'm thinking Algiers may cart along with him. There looks to be just a lot of pressure, and I think for me, the way I've assessed it is that there's going to be a meltdown. So for me, I'm actually going with the Japan Cup winner, Vela Azul, who started his career on dirt. It was because he was a very big, heavy thing. Didn't reach any heights there. Changed to turf. Managed to get to a level where he won the Japan Cup last year. I actually think he's looked like he's handled the dirt well this week, but I'm looking at those sorts of horses that are going to be able to capitalise on the speed just melting down. So any horses like Emblem Road, Jun Lightbolt, maybe Country Grammar as well, they're the types that I'll be playing with, and I'll be trying to steer clear of the likes of Panthalassa, Algiers, and so on.
Okay, Vela Azul, yeah, Christian De Muro taking the ride, 12 to 1. Jack, last race you're going to be previewing with us. Go on, let us know who wins this and give us a best bet so you can sign off with.
I'm also with you with Vela Azul. I thought it could have turned into somewhat of a stamina test as well, and I think the proven stamina over 1.5 miles would definitely be for me. I think Algiers definitely got that turn of foot. Reminds me a bit of Lord North when he won the Prince of Wales or whatnot, but I don't know if he's quite going to actually stay if they do go a decent clip here. So, I mean, if he does go win, I'd love to see the Doyler win the World Cup. I think it'd be absolutely brilliant. But no, also with Vela Azul, best bet for the weekend will be Dan on Volusia. I'll leave you there, folks. Andrew, thank you very much for coming on, and Sam, hopefully Dan on Volusia will do the business for us.
That's fine. Thanks, Jack. We'll see you soon.
Guys.
Right, I should probably give my case, Andrew, for this race. I want to be with Algiers here. Like Jack said, it'd be amazing for the Crisfords to win this and James Dord to take the prize. He's won both of the kind of trials for this race, hasn't he? And 7 to 2, this horse would probably be shorter if having had a favourable draw. Now, I want to find out a little bit about Teo Keynes, who Oisin Murphy's been fairly sweet on, finishing second the last time behind a horse who's in here in Ushbar Tesoro. What do we make of Teo Keynes? Are the vibes strong about him?
Look, the vibes actually haven't been that strong, but I think that he's been somewhat forgotten. If you go back to the Champions Cup, which was run in December, which was won by Jun Lightbolt, he sort of stayed on late, but the thing was he was caught deep throughout. It was a tough run, and I think he did as well. He did well to finish within a length and 3/4. A lot of horses would have shirked the task. He's tough. Kawasaki, where he won last time out, without going too technical, it's on the NAR circuit, which is a different circuit to the JRA, which is where most of the horses are that we know. He is a JRA horse, but he went across and finished second to Ushbar Tesoro. It's a listed race, but it's a Group 1 in Japan. As I say, complicated system there in Japan. But I think that he deserves to be considered a chance here. He's another one who will probably be staying on, and he'll enjoy a better run than he has at his last couple.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I don't know how I'm going to play Algiers to win. I'm going to have a small bet, but I might have a go each way on Emblem Road, and it might be absolutely mad. But this horse, look at the Bywell Cup's a furlong further than the Saudi Cup, and we've got to remember this horse won the Saudi Cup in incredible scenes a couple of years ago. The noise that I heard from that course when this horse went and won that was absolutely incredible. But if this horse can get a strong pace in here, going over 1.25 miles, I've got a feeling you'll just see him staying on, and I think 20-1, I think he could run a big race each way. There's no doubt about that. But I think Emblem Road is being slightly overlooked. But it's a fascinating Dubai World Cup. It's going to be an amazing race to watch. But like I say, it'd be so good for the Crisfords and James Doyle if they can go and win it. Let's just quickly discuss briefly, Andrew, if it's all right, the two races that Jack didn't really want to cover in too much details, but we can. Starting off with the Godolphin Mile at 12.05. Bathrat Leon 3-1 favourite, Isolate 6-1, Prince Ejai is 8-1, Discovery Island 17-2, double figures about everything else in the race. Bathrat Leon, obviously a mile is well suited this horse, ran over a completely different trip in Riyadh, didn't he? But we know this horse gets a mile, and probably the fact he gets a mile was the reason that he ended up winning that race in Saudi. Look, I'm going to take him on with Prince Ejai, and again, I might be mad, but I just think that 8-1 is a really fair price about this horse. I backed him the last day, I put him up on social media, but I thought he put in a really decent display. I know the weather conditions are probably completely different to how they were now, but he's a course and distance winner who does have a lot of ability. There is no doubt. Pat Dobbs takes the ride for Doug Watson, who do so well at this meeting, and I think 8-1 is a fair enough price each way. But Bathrat Leon, Andrew, he is going to be tough to beat, isn't he?
He is. You know where he's going to be. It's like Panther Lasso. He'll be out on the speed, Bathrat Leon, and you know that they're all going to have to run him down. I think a lot of people underestimated him last year. He went off at 66-1. I know that I didn't see that performance coming from him. He's definitely coming in better form. He was even in better form in Japan before he came over. I think I'm going to be interested to see what Win Carnelian can do for the Japanese. Again, mainly turf form, but had form around the likes of Contrail going back a few years. Just the type of horse that I've always thought might go okay on the dirt. But it's the sort of race where, and it's the same with most Godolphin miles. You just don't know where to look. It's sort of that sort of a race where it is really difficult to line up the form lines.
It is, yeah. No, it's going to, again, be a fascinating race. And it is an open-looking contest. And so is the UAE Derby at 150. Now, this is an interesting race because we see Cairo as the favourite for the Aidan O'Brien team. Ryan Moore taking the ride, 130 favourite. Worcester 6-1. Dura already. I want to say I've got that right, 8-1. And then Dermot Sotogaki. Gosh, we shouldn't have previewed this race with some of the names in here, Andrew. 9-1. Look, double things about them. It's not easy. It's not easy. You'll probably be able to say them much better than myself. The one thing with what I've heard about Aidan O'Brien is he sent his horses out there much earlier than he usually would. How much of a help do you think that could potentially be?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a help or a hindrance. Because it's one of those things that Aidan is very, very methodical with what he does, and they follow the same routine all around the world. Now, a horse like Cairo, who hasn't travelled before, probably not as much of an issue. I'm sure that they've got their ways of doing things, whereas horses like Broome and Order of Australia, they probably had to have a bit of a difference to what they've done in the past. But look, the raps about Cairo are quite big. We know what a horse like Mendelssohn did in this race for the O'Brien team, and it was a good win at Dundalk last time out. I think look, he's definitely one of the leading players. But again, the Japanese have sent a large team here, and horses that we don't normally see coming here. Horses of the caliber of Jura Ride, who is a Group 1 winner on turf. Japan's never sent a Group 1 winner to the UAE Derby before. Dermis Otagake, who's a sire, Mind Your Biscuits, won twice on the track, won the Golden Shaheen twice, and I've seen Mind Your Biscuits trainer Chad Summers here quite a bit this week. Look, it's a race where if you can figure it out, well done to you. I mean, I'd probably be leaning the way of, I change my mind every race. Sometimes I'm with Cairo, sometimes I'm with Dermis Otagake. And then I saw Worcester for Bob Baffert, who's still a maiden, but he looked outstanding during the week. And so it's just one of these races that, look, if I had to make a selection and just go all in, probably Worcester would be the one. But it's
not easy.
It's not. Well, I keep changing my mind, and I'm even just looking at the form on Racing Post at the moment and thinking, I should be going this way. I mean, if there's one I can push at a price, and again, I think I've pushed half the field already, so maybe take that for what it is. But Ez Unico, the Brazilian at 50-1, Joe Moreira taking the ride. The one thing I'll say about him is that I think Moreira's come off this horse and said he'd suffered interference down the back stretch in Saudi. And what he found was that that meant that he ended up that little bit further back when the race quickened. Commissioner King, the local, just kept kicking on the front, and he just struggled to run him down. He said that had he not suffered that interference, he wouldn't have won, but he thinks he would have finished in front of Dermis Otagake. And so, Dermis Otagake is going into this at 9-1. Ez Unico is going in at 50-1. Ez Unico is the type of horse that, probably shouldn't be 50-1.
There we go. Potentially a small each way play on that. I'm going to probably take a small chance. Not a race that I've like you say, you could make a case for everything in here, but Go Soldier Go would probably be one that I'd look at. 12-1, ever so consistent this season. Look, 3-2-1-1 form figures wise now. He's been in the top 3 every race, and he is a very talented horse. And I really like Adre Devies as a jockey. I think he's a really talented jockey. Gets along well with this horse. And look, a course and distance winner in here, one of only 2, I believe. I think Laresh is the other one. Miguel Barcelona takes the ride on that. I could see a bit of a turn up in here, and I wouldn't rule out both of the course and distance winners in Go Soldier Go and Laresh. So look, maybe a few for a trifecta there at big prices that we've given, but we've probably given every horse in the field. So that's not too helpful. But Andrew, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I mean, obviously I work with you at the Racing Post doing the Hong Kong videos and everything like that, but I want to hear a best bet on the night. You've been looking at these horses in the mornings. You've probably looked at these cards hundreds of times. Who's going to be the best bet on the Dubai World Cup night?
I can't believe I'm making an even shot best bet.
Yeah, it's fine.
To be, but Equinox, and I've just seen has now been wound out to 11-10. So, if they do keep winding him out, I think it's just a case for me going harder. I must admit, I didn't say it before, but having seen the likes of Westover this week, Westover looks like he's about to melt down. I haven't been impressed by Westover at all. Win Marilyn has actually disappointed me. I saw her in Hong Kong in December. She hasn't looked to be the same this time around. Russian Emperor was looking well earlier in the week. He's sort of just been a little bit jarry the last couple of mornings. And so for me, the more I see, the more I can make a case against a few of these, the more confident I'm coming with Equinox. So best bet Equinox, and just parlay it into something else, whatever you like in the World Cup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're probably right. Equinox like 11-10 could be even more value now. I'm going to be joining Jack. I'm just hoping this horse now runs. You've really worried me in Danon Beluga. But I've seen the horses now shortening. That's probably because Doe Juice has come out. But I just think this horse is a right chance. This trip is just perfect for him. I'm very excited by this horse, Andrew. I think he's got a right old chance. But I mean, when do you think we'd find out if anything comes to light? Will it be in the morning of the race, or do you think we'd find out today?
Oh, I think you'd probably find out today. Again, I think the fact that Doe Juice came out says to me that they've done that lot of vetting again, which is normally what they do. I saw them doing some vetting the other day. normally done in the mornings. Look, if I'm honest, I think I'd be shocked if he came out now, but I do know that the Japanese media were reporting that he had just had to have another vet check done, which again is not that unusual. But I think it's one of those things where there is a heightened sense of concern because obviously you're in a new environment. There are different protocols around these things. I think, as I say, the one that there was a lot of belief that Dojus would come out. There isn't that same belief about Donald Beluga. So I think I would be fairly comfortable if I were you, but always just something worth knowing.
Fingers crossed we get the run. Fingers crossed. Now, before I say goodbye, Andrew, what are the plans tomorrow? What does the day consist of tomorrow? I bet you're in for a power pack day at Meydan.
Absolutely. Look, it's a busy day, and it's a different type of year this year as well because Ramadan is currently away here in the UAE, which means that there is actually a change in race times. Normally the race meeting starts at about 4:30 here and then proceeds on from there. But it's actually pushed. It starts earlier because they have a little break later in the day for iftar or the breaking of the feast. So it's going to be a long day. It's a great day. If you've never been to Dubai, I thoroughly recommend it. It is a real melting pot. In the mornings you're there and you just hear accents all over the place. You hear different languages all over the place. You see how different horses are trained. You get to see how they differ in physique. And it's the same on race day. You see people from all over the world, different types of national dress. And it really is a melting pot, and it really is a global meeting. So if you've never been, I thoroughly recommend making it down here.
I've already said that I'll definitely be out there next year. There's no doubt about that. And I'm so jealous because I get all these videos sent to me from Rosie Margsons, who's out there for us, for our Bloodstock team, sending me all these lovely videos. And I'm like, oh my God, like I dream of being there on those mornings because it just looks absolutely fantastic at the course. Andrew, go on.
I will say Rosie has been one of the hardest workers this week. She has done an incredible job. I've had a few chats to her through the week, and the work that she's done. She's an absolute gem. So no, you're lucky to get some of those videos. She's been sending me some videos, and I just go, wow, even for someone who's on the ground, you see some of what she's doing, and it's pretty impressive. So yeah, don't tell her I gave her a compliment though.
Did you get the video of Algiers jumping in the pool, which was pretty impressive?
I did. That was unreal. I was thinking, yeah, you've nailed that. You've absolutely nailed it.
It looked amazing, didn't it? Andrew, big thank you to yourself. Really appreciate you coming on for the first time to our channel, and maybe we'll have you on for some more international meetings in the future.
Look forward to it, but good luck, and hopefully Danon Beluga gives you a bit of success.
Lovely. Have a great time out there. And that's it for this week's episode of Next Gen Racing. We're going to be back next Wednesday with our 5 horses to follow on the flat. I can't believe we're there already after the Cheltenham Festival. And then we'll be there with a Lincoln preview as well a few days later. But as always, like, share, subscribe, comment down below who you fancy for the big races this weekend. And we'll see you very soon.